Most countries in South America are well known: Brazil, Argentina, Colombia. But tucked away on the northern coast is a nation that often gets overlooked: Suriname. May be small, but its story connects to some of the biggest moments in world history. If we are being honest, most people have never heard of Suriname. Well, at least not here in the United States, which is unfortunate because it's actually played a small role in U.S. history. The name Suriname is thought to be a combination of Suriname, the name of an indigenous group who inhabited the area at the time of European contact, and the word Emma, or Emma, the word for river or creek mouth in Lakona, a native language spoken in the country. The Suriname River is the name of the river that flows right through the country, in which the colony and later country was eventually founded. Country is covered in rainforest. Numbers vary, but somewhere between 93 and 98% of Suriname is covered in forest, making it the most forested country in the world. Suriname has border disputes with two neighbors. On the east side, it has a disagreement with French Guiana, an overseas department of France. The dispute has its origins in 1860, when the French were attempting to draw the official border. This time, Suriname was a Dutch colony. The border was supposed to be drawn by the Maroni River, but the French and Dutch disagreed on the source of the river, and thus the border. A joint French-Dutch commission was appointed to review the issue. In 1861, measurements were taken, and it was decided that the Lawa River was the headwater. There were no issues with this decision until 1885, when the discovery of gold in the area between the Lawa and the Tapanahoni created a new border conflict. On November 29, 1888, France and the Netherlands reached an agreement that the conflict should be subject to arbitration. Tsar Alexander III of Russia, acting as arbitrator, decided that the Lawa was the headwater of the Maroni, and thus should be considered the border once again. The Netherlands and France agreed, and they made it official on September 30, 1915. However, this decision created another issue. What river was the source of the Lawa? The Netherlands considered the Maroni to be the source of the Lawa. The French considered the Latini, located further to the west, to be the source. This issue has still not been resolved. To the west, there is another dispute called the New River Triangle. Similar to the eastern dispute, it is centered around which river is the source of what was designated to be the border by former colonial powers, this time the British and the Dutch. The New River Triangle dispute was nearly resolved in the 1930s. A joint British and Dutch commission agreed to award the region to Guyana, but the treaty putting this agreement into law was never ratified because of the outbreak of World War II. Desiring to solve the dispute before British Guyana would gain independence, the British government restarted negotiations in 1961, but this time the two governments failed to come to an agreement. Guyana and Suriname inherited the dispute when both gained independence. Suriname was actually originally a British colony, but on February 26, 1667, as part of the Second Anglo-Dutch War, Suriname was taken by the Dutch. A few years earlier, in 1664, the British had taken New Netherland and its seat of government, New Amsterdam. This would eventually become New York State and New York City. Treaty of Breda ended the conflict. The war is considered a Dutch victory, but they didn't push for New Netherland's return, but instead demanded that they keep Suriname, essentially trading Suriname for New Netherland. War broke out again in 1672, and the Dutch retook New Netherland, but they gave it up again at the war's closing with the Treaty of Westminster, which officially made Suriname a Dutch colony, and what was then New York a British colony. Suriname took part in another event in U.S. history. It helped supply the United States with aluminum for its aircraft in World War II. Because Suriname was still part of the Netherlands during World War II, it was a member of the Allies, and so Suriname contributed to the war effort by supplying bauxite, and through a process it is turned into aluminum. Between 1940 and 1943, Suriname supplied 65% of American imports of bauxite, about 90% of which was turned into aluminum used for military purposes. The United States sent 2,000 soldiers to Suriname to protect the bauxite mines and the border with French Guiana, which had become part of the German puppet state Vichy France. Suriname has another interesting World War II story. On August 24, 1939, a German cargo ship left Galveston in the United States, and on September 3, Great Britain declared war on Nazi Germany. The ship's captain didn't want to continue his journey to Europe, and instead wanted to surrender his ship to a neutral country. So the ship entered the Suriname River under the American flag. Captain and his crew asked for asylum. A large part of the crew were Chinese citizens who were returned to their home country, leaving only the German crew of 15 people. When Germany invaded the Netherlands on May 10, 1940, the Netherlands ordered the Germans to be arrested. Crew didn't want the ship confiscated, so they blew a hole in its side, sinking it. Crew spent the rest of the war in prison. You can actually still see the ship in the river today. Suriname has some of the most interesting demographics in the world. This was, of course, due to colonization. But the specifics are pretty unique. Nearly one-third of Suriname's population immigrated to the Netherlands between 1970, when its independence was on the horizon, and 1980 because of the chaos and uncertainty that came with its independence. Today, around 350,000 people of Surinamese descent live in the Netherlands, which is quite a large number when you think about the fact that Suriname only has a population of about 600,000. So the next time you think about South America, remember Suriname. It's not just a small country hidden in the rainforest. It's a place that shaped wars, supplied nations, and even played a part in the story of New York. History proves that sometimes the countries we hear about the least have some of the most fascinating stories to tell.